Good morning, students. Welcome to my channel, Educational. This is Dr. Bharti Gautam, and after we have completed an important chapter from the Flamingo textbook, and it was the last lesson. Let's get to another important chapter, Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. This story has been written by Anees Jung, who is a well known Indian writer and journalist. She is famous for writing about social issues, especially the lives of women and poor children in India. One of her most famous and important works is Lost Spring, which describes the difficult lives of poor children who lose their childhood because of poverty and work. अनीस जंग की जो लेख हैं वो बहुत सिंपल, इमोशनल एंड रियलिस्टिक रहे हैं. हर वर्क्स हेल्प understand the struggles of weaker sections of society. This lesson, Lost Spring, highlights the harsh reality of child labor and poverty in India through the lives of two poor boys, Sahib and Mukesh. The title Lost Spring symbolizes the loss of childhood, happiness, and opportunities that poor children face because of poverty and social injustice. The first part of the lesson focuses on Sahib, who is a young boy who lives in Simapuri, which is a slum area on the outskirts of Delhi. Sahib came from Dhaka. His family migrated to India many years ago because storms and floods destroyed their fields and homes in Bangladesh. Every morning, Sahib can be seen barefoot, carrying a plastic bag and searching through garbage dumps for things that can be sold. For him, garbage is like gold. It contains plastic, paper, metal, and sometimes even coins or useful objects. Sahib often asks the author why she is writing. The author jokingly tells him that she is writing about him. Sahib replies that if he had a school, he would definitely go there. This shows that he has a desire to study, but poverty prevents him from getting an education. The author notices that Sahib always walks barefoot. When she asks him about it, he says that his mother did not bring his shoes down from the shelf. However, the author realizes that the real reason is poverty. For the poor children of Simapuri, wearing shoes is a luxury. The people of Simapuri live in small huts made of mud and plastic sheets. They lack basic facilities like electricity, sanitation, and clean water. Their only identity is their ration cards, which allow them to buy grain from government shops. Most adults and children survive by rag picking. Garbage becomes their means of livelihood. For children like Sahib, rag picking is not just work. Sometimes it is also a kind of adventure because they hope to find something valuable. Later in the story, the author sees Sahib working at a tea stall. He now earns 800 rupees and meals. Although his job seems better than rag picking, the author notices that Sahib looks unhappy. The freedom he once had while roaming the streets has been replaced by responsibility and hard work. The steel container he carries is heavier than the plastic bag he once used to collect garbage. This shows how poverty slowly steals the joy and freedom of childhood. तो इस तरीके से इस कहानी में दो बच्चे साहिब और एक और कैरेक्टर है जिसका नाम है, वो मैं आगे बताऊंगी, उसका नाम है मुकेश, उसके जीवन की कहानी बताई गई है। साहिब बांग्लादेश से आया है, एक गरीब परिवार का लड़का है, कूड़ा बीनने का काम करता है और उसके जैसे कई बच्चे कूड़े के ढेर में से प्लास्टिक, लोहे और अन्य चीज़ें ढूंढा करते हैं जिससे कि दे कैन अर्न सम मनी, और कूड़ा ही उनके लिए सोने की खान के जैसा है क्योंकि उसी से उसका पेट भरता है। और इसी वजह से वे स्कूल नहीं जा पाते और उनका बचपन गरीबी में खो जाता है। इसीलिए द स्टोरीज ऑफ लॉस्ट चाइल्डहुड इसको दर्शाया गया है। और इस कहानी के माध्यम से लेखिका एक कड़वी सच्चाई दिखाती है समाज की कि गरीबी, परंपरा और शोषण के कारण बच्चों का बचपन और उनके सपने छिन जाते हैं। Now coming to the second character, that is Mukesh. Second part of the story focuses on this boy only, who is from Firozabad. Firozabad is famous for its glass bangle industry, where thousands of families work in small factories. Mukesh belongs to a family of bangle makers. For generations, his family has been making bangles for rich families and markets across India. However, despite their hard work, they remain extremely poor. और बेंगल फैक्ट्रीज़ की जो कंडीशंस हैं वो इस प्रकार थी हैं कि द बेंगल फैक्ट्रीज़ दे आर वेरी स्मॉल, डार्क एंड पुअरली वेंटिलेटेड. वर्कर्स सिट near hot furnaces for long hours, melting glass and shaping bangles. Many children work in these factories from a very young age. And the working conditions are very dangerous in bangle factories. Rooms are filled with smoke and dust. Workers often lose their eyesight because of the bright flames. Children work long hours without proper safety measures. Because of these conditions, many young workers develop eye problems and health issues. उनको स्वास्थ्य रिलेटेड बहुत सारी परेशानियां उनको झेलनी पड़ती हैं क्योंकि उन्हें बहुत लंबे आवर्स के लिए और विदाउट सेफ्टी मेजर्स आग के सामने बैठना पड़ता है और इस तरीके से उनको आई प्रॉब्लम्स ज़्यादातर देखने को मिलती हैं. Mukesh's grandmother explains that their family has been doing this work for generations. They believe that it's their destiny. Poverty, lack of education, and social pressure trap them in the same profession. And people of Firozabad also face exploitation from middlemen, money lenders, factory owners, and police. These powerful people keep the workers poor and dependent. Unlike others, Mukesh has a dream. He wants to become a motor mechanic and drive a car someday. This dream is very unusual in his community because no one has ever thought of doing something different from bangle making. When the author asks him if he is afraid of getting his family broken, the tradition, Mukesh confidently replies no. His determination shows hope and courage. Mukesh plans to learn how to repair cars and move away from the dangerous Bengal factories. His dream represents the possibility of change. Now, the themes of the lessons are: firstly, child labor. This chapter highlights the widespread problem of children being forced to work instead of going to school. Secondly, poverty is the main reason why children like Sahib and Mukesh cannot enjoy their childhood. Then, loss of childhood. The title Lost Spring symbolizes how poor children lose the joy and freedom of childhood. Despite different circumstances, Mukesh shows that determination and dreams can inspire change. Now, the message of the lesson Lost Spring is very powerful, and it is a social powerful message. Every child deserves education, safety, and happiness. Society must work to eliminate the child labor and poverty. Awareness and opportunities can help children break the cycle of exploitation. So, to conclude this lesson, we can say that Lost Spring is a touching and realistic story about the lives of poor children in India. Through the stories of Sahib and Mukesh, Anees Jung shows how poverty steals childhood dreams. At the same time, the story also gives hope that this courage and determination which they are aspiring, change can be possible. And they think they are hopeful of bringing a change in the society and in their future. So, इस तरह से हर बच्चे को आज़ादी, शिक्षा और खुशहाल बचपन मिलना चाहिए, लेकिन गरीबी और बाल श्रम के कारण कई बच्चों का जो खुशहाल बचपन है, जो बसंत है, स्प्रिंग है, वो खो जाती है. तो इस कहानी के माध्यम से जो लेखिका हैं अनीस जंग, वो सोसाइटी की एक बिटर ट्रूथ पोर्ट्रे कर रही हैं और बताती हैं कि गरीबी, परंपरा और शोषण के कारण बच्चों का बचपन और उनके सपने छिन जाते हैं. In this video, we are going to cover character sketches of two main characters of Lost Spring chapter, which is a main part of the Flamingo textbook. And the main characters of this chapter are Sahib-e-Alam and Mukesh. So let's get started with the first character, that is Sahib. Sahib-e-Alam is a young rag picker in this story, which is written by Anees Jung, and it's a deeply moving character who represents the harsh realities of poverty and lost childhood. His character sketch reflects innocence, deprivation, quiet acceptance, and a faint but persistent sense of hope. Sahib is a boy who lives in Simapuri. This area is a slum on the outskirts of Delhi. It's inhabited by refugees from Bangladesh. His very name, Sahib-e-Alam, which means Lord of the Universe, is ironically opposite to his actual condition. Instead of being powerful or privileged, Sahib is a poor child, forced to search for garbage to survive. This contrast highlights the cruel irony of his life. अनीस जंग के द्वारा लिखी हुई इस कहानी में, लॉस्ट स्प्रिंग में, जो चाइल्ड लेबर की जो पैथेटिक कंडीशन है और उन बच्चों के छिने हुए बचपन मीन्स लॉस्ट चाइल्डहुड को बहुत इमोशनल ढंग से पोर्ट्रे किया गया है. और इस स्टोरी के दो मेन कैरेक्टर्स साहिब एंड मुकेश सोसाइटी के दो अलग अलग पहलू हैं। तो इन्हीं पहलुओं को दर्शाते हुए अनीस जंग ने उनको बहुत इमोशनली पोर्ट्रे किया है। One of the most striking aspects of first character, that is Sahib's character, is his innocence. Like any other child, he is curious, observant, and capable of finding joy in small things. He roams barefoot not because he wants to, but because he has no choice. When asked why he does not wear shoes, he casually replies that he is used to it. This shows that how poverty has normalized deprivation in his life. His innocence is further reflected in the way he enjoys simple pleasures, such as finding a coin or a piece of useful waste in the garbage. Sahib also symbolizes the loss of childhood. At an age when he should be going to school, playing with friends, and dreaming about the future, he is instead burdened with the responsibility of earning a livelihood. He once expresses a desire to go to school, revealing that he is unaware of what he is missing. However, his dream remains unfulfilled as his circumstances do not allow him to pursue education. His life is a continuous struggle for survival, leaving no space for personal growth or ambition. Another important trait of this character, Sahib, is his acceptance of his fate. साहिब ने अपने भाग्य को स्वीकार कर लिया है. He does not openly complain about his condition. वो कंडीशन को खुल के कंप्लेन उसके प्रति शिकायत नहीं करता है, बल्कि उसे छुपाने की कोशिश करता है. Instead, he quietly accepts the harsh realities of his life. This acceptance, however, is not a sign of strength, but rather a result of helplessness and lack of opportunity. He has grown up in such an environment that he cannot even imagine a different life for himself. Later in the story, when Sahib gets a job at a tea stall, it appears to be a step forward. He earns a fixed wage and even gets food. However, this new job takes away his freedom. While rag picking allowed him to roam freely and dream, the job binds him to a routine and a sense of responsibility. The author notices that Sahib no longer looks as carefree and happy as he was before. This change shows that even a slightly better economic condition can come at the cost of personal freedom. तो इस तरीके से हमने देखा कि साहिब आलम जो एक गरीब लड़का है एंड उसकी फैमिली माइग्रेट होकर बांग्लादेश से सीमापुरी में एस्टैब्लिश हो गई है. उसका नाम द लॉर्ड ऑफ यूनिवर्स मीन संसार का मालिक बेशक अर्थ रखता हो, लेकिन उसकी जो रियल कंडीशन इज़ वेरी पैथेटिक. वो अपनी फैमिली के साथ, अपने परिवार के साथ में सीमापुरी की झुग्गियों में रहता है, विच इज़ अ स्लम एरिया, और जीविका के लिए कूड़ा बीनता है. उसका जीवन कठिनाइयों से भरा हुआ है और उसके लिए इट्स लाइक अ गोल्ड टू पिक द डर्ट और एनीथिंग मीन्स रैग्स को बीनना उसको एक गोल्ड के समान लगता है. और उन चीज़ों को बेचकर वो परिवार की मदद करता है. उसके पास ना अच्छे कपड़े पहनने के लिए हैं, ना खेलने के लिए खिलौने. और इस तरीके से हमने देखा कि कैरेक्टर वाइज, नेचर वाइज, ही इज़ वेरी इनोसेंट एंड विदाउट एनी कंप्लेंट ही इज़ accepting his conditions. उसके जीवन में जब एक बहुत बड़ा चेंज आता है, जब उसको ही इज़ प्लेस्ड एट अ टी स्टॉल, जहाँ पर उसे खाना भी मिलता है और कुछ इनकम भी, पैसा मिलता है जो बहुत थोड़ी होती है, 800 रुपये पर मंथ, लेकिन अब उसको बहुत खुशी जो होनी चाहिए थी वो नहीं होती है. इंस्टेड ही इज़ फीलिंग ओवरबर्डन्ड. तो इस तरीके से उसके चेहरे की जो मासूम खुशी है वो अब जो पहले थी वो अब गायब हो जाती है. उसकी आंखों में एक अजीब सी उदासी दिखाई देने लगती है. तो इस तरीके से कैरेक्टर ऑफ साहिब इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ लैक्स ऑफ चिल्ड्रन जिनका बचपन गरीबी और मजबूरी के कारण छिन जाता है. दिस इज़ द ओनली कैरेक्टर जो समाज की असमानता और बाल श्रम की समस्या को उजागर करता है. नाउ कमिंग टू द सेकेंड कैरेक्टर ऑफ दिस स्टोरी, एंड दिस इज मुकेश. Mukesh is one of the most inspiring and hopeful characters of the story. Lost Spring, which is written by Anees Jung. Unlike many others trapped in the vicious circle of poverty and tradition, Mukesh represents courage, determination, and the desire for change. Mukesh is a young boy from Firozabad, and this is a town which is famous for its glass blowing industries, particularly bangles. He belongs to a family of bangle makers who have been engaged in this occupation for generations. The work is hazardous, involving high temperatures and unhealthy conditions, yet it is the only livelihood known to his family. From an early age, Mukesh is exposed to this harsh reality, where conditions are expected to continue their family tradition without questioning it. One of the most striking aspects of Mukesh's character is his strong will and ambition. Unlike other boys of his community who passively accept their fate, Mukesh dares to dream of a different life. He expresses his desire to become a motor mechanic, a profession completely unrelated to bangle making. This dream is significant because it shows his willingness to break free from the traditional occupation that has trapped his family for generations. Mukesh's determination is evident in the way he speaks about his dream. He confidently states that he will learn to drive a car and become a mechanic. वो एक कार मैकेनिक बनना चाहता है. That's why he has started learning driving. Even though he does not have any formal education or resources, he is ready to walk long distances to a garage to learn the necessary skills. This shows his commitment and readiness to work hard for a better future. His optimism stands in sharp contrast to the hopelessness that surrounds him. Another important trait of Mukesh is his courage. In a society where people are bound by social norms, poverty, and fear, it takes great bravery to think differently. Like Mukesh, he is aware of the challenges he will face, including lack of money, social pressure, and limited opportunities. Yet he does not let these obstacles discourage him. His courage lies in his ability to dream and his refusal to give up on those dreams. Mukesh also represents hope for change. Through his character, the author shows that not all children are resigned to their fate, while many others in this community are caught in the web of exploitation by middlemen moneylenders, and the system. Mukesh is determined to create his own path. His dream may seem small, but it carries a powerful message that change is possible if one has the will to pursue it. At the same time, Mukesh's character highlights the harsh realities of child labor and poverty in India. His dream is not supported by any system or opportunities. Instead, it's a personal struggle. This makes his determination even more admirable. He is not just fighting against poverty, but also against a deeply rooted social structure that limits his choices. तो इस तरीके से हमने देखा कि मुकेश, who is a resident of Firozabad, is very poor and he is related to bangle making family. फिरोज़ाबाद जो चूड़ियों का शहर कहा जाता है, और यहाँ के लोग पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी इसी काम में लगे हुए हैं, और यही वजह है कि मुकेश भी इसी काम को करता है. मुकेश की लाइफ जो है वो इज़ फुल ऑफ स्ट्रगल्स. धुएं और गर्मी से भरे कारखानों में काम करता है, जहां उसकी आँखों और हेल्थ पर बहुत बुरा प्रभाव पड़ता है. लेकिन फिर भी ही अंडरस्टैंड्स द फैमिलीज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ एंड ही वर्क्स हार्ड. मुकेश की सबसे बड़ी खूबी यही है कि वो एक सपने देखने वाला लड़का है. वह अपने परिवार की परंपरा को तोड़ना चाहता है और जीवन जीना चाहता है. उसका सपना है कि बड़ा होकर वो मोटर मैकेनिक बने, और एंड दैट इज़ वाई ही हैज़ स्टार्टेड लर्निंग ड्राइविंग ऑल्सो. यह सपना उसके अंदर एक नई होप और एनर्जी फील करता है. मुकेश इज़ वेरी करेजियस और दृढ़ निश्चयी है. जहाँ उसके परिवार के अन्य सदस्य जो कंडीशंस हैं उसको अपना फेट मानते हैं एंड दे एक्सेप्ट दैट, वही मुकेश उसको बदलने की इच्छा रखता है. और वो कहता है कि वह अपने सपनों को पूरा करने के लिए शहर जाएगा और नया काम सीखेगा. और यही उसके कॉन्फिडेंस, उसका सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस और उसकी करेज को पोर्ट्रे करता है. तो इस तरीके से हमने देखा कि साहिब और मुकेश दोनों ही गरीब परिवारों से आते हैं और बाल श्रम के, चाइल्ड लेबर के शिकार हैं. लेकिन उनके एटीट्यूड्स और उनकी थिंकिंग में देयर इज़ अ ड्रास्टिक डिफरेंस. साहिब परिस्थितियों के सामने पूरा झुक जाता है और अपनी स्थिति को बदलने का प्रयास नहीं करता, और ना ही उसके पास कोई स्पष्ट अपना कोई ड्रीम है, सपना है. वह केवल वर्तमान में जीता है और छोटी छोटी खुशियों में संतोष को ढूंढ लेता है. एंड इन कंट्रास्ट मुकेश थिंक्स ऑफ हिज फ्यूचर एंड जीवन को बेहतर बनाने का प्रयास करता है. साहिब की जो फ्रीडम है वो धीरे धीरे ख़त्म हो जाती है, जबकि मुकेश स्वतंत्रता को प्राप्त करने के लिए संघर्ष करता है. साहिब का जीवन निराशा और मजबूरी का प्रतीक है, जबकि मुकेश का जीवन आशा और साहस का. Sahib is a powerful symbol of the millions of underprivileged children in society. Through his character, Anis Jung highlights the deep-rooted issues of poverty, child labor, and lack of education. Sahib's life is a reminder that childhood, which should be a time of joy and learning, often turns into a struggle for survival for many children. Mukesh is a symbol of hope, courage, and determination. He stands out as a character who dares to dream and takes steps forward, achieving those dreams. अपने सपनों को पूरा करने का वो भरपूर प्रयास करता है. Despite all odds, through Mukesh, Anis Jung conveys an important message that even in the darkest circumstances, the light of hope and change can exist if one has the hope to pursue it, like Mukesh. So this was all about the character sketches of the two main characters, जो कि हैं साहिब आलम एंड मुकेश फ्रॉम दिस स्टोरी लॉस्ट स्प्रिंग लेसन। एंड आज की इस वीडियो में वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस अबाउट द सेंट्रल आइडिया एंड themes of this lesson. As you already know that this lesson has been written by a female Indian writer, Anees Jung, who is very famous for writing about social causes. And this is one of the most powerful pieces in class 12 English textbook. It presents a painful reality of children who are deprived of their childhood because of poverty and social inequality. Through the stories of two young boys, Sahib and Mukesh, the author exposes the harsh truth of child labor and the cycle of poverty that traps millions of children in India. The title itself, Lost Spring, is symbolic. Spring is generally associated with youth, hope, freshness and new beginnings. In the context of the story, however, spring represents childhood. ये childhood बचपन को दर्शा रहा है spring word, the happiest and most carefree period of time. जिस समय बच्चे खेलते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, वो पीरियड बच्चों का बचपन यहाँ पर दर्शाया गया है, पोर्ट्रे किया गया है by Anees Jung. The author suggests that for poor children like Sahib and Mukesh, this joyful phase of life is lost. Instead of enjoying their childhood through education, play and dreams, they are forced to work and struggle for survival. जिस समय उनको पढ़ना है, खेलना है और they have to dream big, वहाँ पर उनको फोर्स किया जा रहा है to work so that they can earn some money for their survival. Thus, the central idea and themes of the chapter Lost Spring revolve around poverty, child labor, loss of childhood, exploitation, dreams and aspirations, and the possibility of hope and change. The central idea of this lesson is the tragic loss of childhood among poor children who are forced to do labor due to poverty and social inequality. The chapter highlights how economic hardships and social structures prevent children from enjoying their basic rights such as education, freedom and a carefree childhood. अपना बचपन जो वो खो चुके हैं बच्चे किस तरीके से खोते हैं क्योंकि उनको स्ट्रगल करना पड़ रहा है to earn some money. The author narrates two real-life stories of two characters, Sahib and Mukesh, to illustrate this idea. The first story is about Sahib, a rag picker who lives in Simapuri, a slum on the outskirts of Delhi. Sahib's family migrated from Bangladesh years ago because of poverty and natural disasters. Every day, Sahib and many other children search through garbage dumps to find useful items that they can sell. For them, garbage is not a waste but a source of livelihood. It's just like a goat for them. It is a means of their survival. उनके लिए साहिब जैसे और बच्चों के लिए और साहिब के लिए गोल्ड, जो कि वो गार्बेज को समझते हैं कि इट्स लाइक अ गोल्ड, वो एक मीन्स ऑफ सर्वाइवल हो गया है, उसके बिना उनका गुजारा नहीं चलता. द सेकेंड स्टोरी इज बीइंग फोकस्ड ऑन एन अदर कैरेक्टर विच इज मुकेश, अ बॉय फ्रॉम फिरोजाबाद, a city famous for its glass bangle industry. Mukesh belongs to a family of bangle makers who have been involved in this work for generations. The children of this community grow up working in hazardous factories where molten glass is shaped into bangles. These factories are dark, cramped, and unhealthy. Despite these harsh conditions, Mukesh dares to dream of becoming a motor mechanic and escaping the traditional occupation of his family. इतनी हार्डशिप्स के बाद भी मुकेश इज़ बीइंग वेरी होपफुल फॉर हिज फ्यूचर। वो एक मोटर मैकेनिक बनना चाहता है और वहाँ का जो ट्रेडिशनल ऑक्यूपेशन है, जो व्यवसाय है, उसको छोड़कर वो कहीं अच्छे ऑक्यूपेशन में स्विच करना चाहता है। एंड ही इज़ वेरी पॉजिटिव फॉर हिज ड्रीम्स। Through these two stories, the author shows how poverty forces children to work at a very young age. Instead of attending school and enjoying their childhood, they must contribute to their family's survival. The chapter highlights the injustice of a society where millions of children are denied the opportunity to grow and develop freely. The title Lost Spring is deeply symbolic. It reflects the central message of the character. Spring is a season associated with beauty, renewal, and joy. It represents the blossoming of life and the promises of a bright future. Childhood can be compared to a spring because it is a time of innocence, curiosity, and growth. However, for children like Sahib and Mukesh, the spring of life is lost. They are forced to grow up too soon. Their days are filled with labor, poverty, and struggle rather than happiness and education. The title therefore suggests that society has failed to protect the childhood of these children. And by choosing such a meaningful title, the author, Anis Jung, draws attention to the emotional and psychological impact of poverty on children. Their dreams and opportunities are limited by circumstances beyond their control. One of the most important themes in Lost Spring is poverty. Poverty is the root cause of the problems faced by the children in the story. It forces families to make difficult choices and often leads to child labor. Sahib's family, which has migrated from Bangladesh to Delhi because their family was repeatedly destroyed by storms and floods. They hoped to find a better life in the city. However, they ended up living in a slum area without basic facilities such as proper houses, schools, or health care. To survive, the children collect plastic, bottles, and other waste from the garbage dumps. For Sahib and his friends, garbage is not something disgusting. Instead, it's like gold. It sometimes contains coins, toys, or valuable items that can be sold so that they can earn some money. जिससे कि वो अपना उसको बेचकर पैसा कमा सकें और अपना गुजारा कर सकें. This shows how poverty changes people's perceptions and priorities. What is waste for one person may be a treasure for another. Similarly, Mukesh's family in Firozabad lives in extreme poverty. The entire community depends on the glass Bengal industry for survival. Even though the work is dangerous and poorly said, the families have no alternative. Poverty traps them in this occupation generation after generation. Through these examples, the author shows that poverty is not just a lack of money. It's a condition that affects every aspect of life, including education, health, and opportunities. Another major theme in the chapter is child labor. Child labor refers to the practice of employing children in work that deprives them of their childhood and education. Sahib works as a rag picker from an early age. Instead of going to school, he spends his days searching through garbage dumps. Later, he starts working at a tea stall where he earns a small wage and receives food. Although this job gives him some security, it also takes away his freedom. Mukesh, on the other hand, works in glass Bengal factories of Firozabad. The work involves sitting near furnaces. आग के सामने उनको घंटों बैठना पड़ता है. Now Mukesh, on the other hand, works in the glass Bengal factories of Firozabad, जहाँ उन्हें आग के सामने फर्नेसेस के सामने घंटों बैठना पड़ता है, where glass is melted at extremely high temperatures. The workers, including children, inhale toxic fumes that damage their lungs and eyes. Health problems उनको frequently हर पर्सन को फेस करनी पड़ती है ड्यू टू ऑल दीज फैक्टर्स. जो जहरीला जो धुआं है वो उनकी लंग्स को और उनकी आइज़ को डैमेज कर रहा है. Many workers eventually lose their eyesight. These examples highlight the harsh reality of child labor in India. Millions of children are forced to work because their families cannot afford them to school. This prevents them from improving their lives and escaping poverty. The author uses the stories of Sahib and Mukesh to draw attention to this serious social issue and encourage readers to think about the importance of protecting children's rights. The loss of childhood is perhaps the most emotional theme in Lost Spring. Childhood is supposed to be the time of play, learning, and imagination. However, the children in this story are denied these experiences. Sahib's childhood is spent among garbage dumps. He walks barefoot and wears worn out clothes. When the author asks him why he does not wear shoes, he replies that his mother says that shoes get lost in the mud. This response reflects the normalization of poverty in his life. They have accepted their poverty. They have accepted their conditions they are going through. उन्होंने उन सभी conditions को accept कर लिया, स्वीकार कर लिया है और they have become normal. Mukesh's childhood is spent in dark factories where he works long hours making bangles. The environment is unhealthy and unsafe. The children in Firozabad grow up surrounded by the glow of furnaces rather than the light of education. The chapter Lost Spring shows how poverty forces children to take on adult responsibilities at a very young age. They must work to support their families instead of enjoying the freedom of childhood. The story also highlights the theme of social injustice. The poor communities described in the chapter are exploited by powerful people such as middlemen, moneylenders, and factory owners. In Firozabad, the Bengal industry is controlled by a network of traders and businessmen who earn large profits. The workers, however, receive very little money for their labor because they are uneducated and indebted. They cannot challenge the system. The families remain trapped in poverty because they lack access to education and resources. The author suggests that the problem is not just individual but systematic. Society allows such exploitation to be continued. This theme encourages readers to think about the responsibility of society and government in addressing poverty and inequality. Despite the harsh realities of their lives, the children in this lesson, Lost Spring, still have dreams and aspirations. These dreams reveal their desire for a better future. Sahib dreams of wearing shoes and living a comfortable life. His small dreams reflect the limited opportunities available to him. Mukesh, however, has a big dream. He is having big dreams. He wants to be a motor mechanic and work in a garage. Unlike the other boys in the community, he refuses to accept the traditional occupation of Bengal making. Mukesh's determination is significant because it shows that change is possible. Even in difficult circumstances, individuals can hope for a better and different future. Although the chapter exposes many social problems, it also contains a message of hope. Mukesh represents the possibility of change and progress. When the author asks him if he is afraid to pursue his dreams, he confidently replies that he will walk to a garage and learn the work. His courage suggests that determination and education can help people break free from poverty. The author uses Mukesh's story to inspire readers and encourage them to believe in the power of dreams. Through Lost Spring, Anees Jung adopts the role of a social observer. She interacts with the children and listens to their stories. Her writing combines personal experience with social commentary. The author does not simply describe the suffering of the children, she also questions the systems and attitudes that allow such conditions to exist. Her narrative style is empathetic and reflective, encouraging readers to feel compassion and responsibility. The chapter delivers a strong social message also about the importance of protecting children's rights. Every child deserves the opportunity to receive education, enjoy freedom, and pursue their dreams. The child labor and poverty prevent millions of children from achieving their potential. By highlighting these issues, the author urges society to take action. The society which is not aware of all these seems to be not aware of all these issues. The story reminds readers that social change requires awareness, empathy, and collective effort. In order to conclude this video, The Lost Spring is a powerful and thought-provoking chapter that exposes the harsh reality of poverty and child labor. Through the lives of two characters, Sahib and Mukesh, the author shows how millions of children lose their childhood due to economic hardships and social inequality. The central idea of the chapter is the loss of childhood caused by poverty and exploitation. The themes of poverty, childhood, loss of childhood, child labor, social injustice, dreams, and hopes are explored in depth. Despite the grim realities described in the story, the character of Mukesh offers hope for the change. His determination to pursue a different path symbolizes the possibility of breaking the cycle of poverty. Ultimately, the chapter Lost Spring serves as a reminder that childhood should be a time of joy and learning. It calls upon society to ensure that every child has an opportunity to experience the spring of life fully and freely. So this was all for this video. And till next video, goodbye. And do subscribe to my channel, The Educational 310.